ISIS, we've been doing this every week, and we had another beheading video that we could have shown you this week, but I know we've done two pretty graphic ones over the last 2 weeks, and unfortunately these are not going to stop either. So ISIS just yesterday released a video of the beheading of James Wright Foley, who is an American photojournalist who's been missing in Syria for about 22 months. We're not going to show the video here because it's been taken down from YouTube. Actually, Twitter already has issued a thing that they're suspending accounts that put up images of it. I had to delete my tweet about it. We're going to show you one screen capture from the video, just real quick. Okay, so just so you, we're just throwing this up so you know this is real, what we're talking about, and everyone, this has already been confirmed by our State Department and all that. So basically, ISIS is running rampant through Iraq, through Syria. It seems to me that we don't know what to do about it, and flags are being raised in European capitals, in England and in France, et cetera, et cetera. I want to get to what the Pope had to say about this, but what do we make of this ISIS? We've never seen anything like this, have we?
It's absolutely terrifying. I think this is one of the first times that ISIS directly is sort of warning the U.S. and saying, we're coming after you.
Yeah.
And here's what we're going to do. We know this is one of your people, a journalist, which should, really journalists should be protected. They're there to report information. They're, supposed to be unbiased source of information. We really need journalists, so to put them in danger is absolutely tragic.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure ISIS doesn't operate under standard rules.
And the thing that's really scary too is that they say that they have yet another American journalist and they're threatening to do the same if we do not stop our intervention. And what blows my mind too is that here we're intervening in Iraq because we have a minority population that is being decimated. Yeah. So we're sort of entering the situation, it seems like on the outset or just at first blush, not for politically motivated reasons. This is an economic condition. This is because a Christian minority is being persecuted. So we're there to help, and these are the consequences. It's absolutely tragic.
Right, so we've been talking about that a lot. So there were these 40,000 Yazidi that were trapped on this mountain. ISIS was surrounding them. We had some airstrikes. It sounds like we helped some people, but now apparently they're still being raped and killed and all that kind of stuff. What are we supposed to do here? Because it seems to me we created the problem with the first war that we shouldn't have gone into. Right. Then Obama got everybody out. Not that we should have stayed, but maybe we left so quickly that there was a power it's just a big freaking mess. But what do we do now?
Well, I hate to trivialize it, but we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. Yeah. And the more we try to help, the worse it gets. And I know we're going to talk about the cool Pope who says, maybe force is needed now. And for so long, it's, we've stuck to our guns and we do not negotiate with terrorists and we don't do this.
Even though we kind of do.
We kind of do, exactly. Yeah. But what we're doing, it's not working and we're losing our people. And that shouldn't be what we're faced with when we're trying to intervene and help a situation. So I think that force is needed at this point, and it needs to be in a different capacity than what we've been trying to do.
Yeah. All right. So before we get to the Pope, for all the people that say, we shouldn't go back in and we shouldn't do anything, what would you say to them? Because it sounds like both of you are kind of at least for airstrikes or something. And I know the YouTube commenters always go, well, America just screws everything up either way. What would you say to them?
We have to get our people. We can't leave them there. We can't have another beheading. We can't just, you're going to pull out now and whatever happens to the rest of our people that are there and the rest of the people that are being hurt, we don't care anymore. Logically, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I think we get into very sort of complex moral territory here. There are many philosophical implications. Vanessa, you mentioned we have to get our people, but do we not have a responsibility as one of the largest superpowers in the world to also protect innocent people and children? These children are being murdered, they're being starved to death,
Right, so I know everyone on YouTube, I know half of YouTube would yell at you and say, well, you're an interventionist and let everybody else do it, and why doesn't the UN do it? But I think it's been proven that pretty much unless the US does something, nobody does anything, unfortunately, which is why we're damned if we do.
Yeah, and there are some reports that say that the US airstrikes were critical in taking back the Mosul Dam and having the Kurdish people take control of it. If ISIS would have taken control, they could have potentially starved the entire population, a huge portion of the population, or they could have used it to essentially, flood a bunch of cities.
They
could have done so much damage, and so I think there we saw sort of a situation where we absolutely had to intervene.
Yeah.
But it's a really tough question. Do I want my soldiers, my people, my resources, our country's money to be devoted here? No, absolutely not. I'd rather this situation not be here. But I think in some ways we have to consider the possibility that we are partially responsible for the situation in the first place, and we should act accordingly.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty much on the same page there. And then the Pope chimed in, and we've got the quote. The Pope said, "In these cases where there is an unjust aggression by ISIS, I can only say that it is licit to stop the unjust aggressor. I underscore the verb stop. I'm not saying bomb or make war, just stop. And that means that can be used to stop them must be evaluated." So obviously the Pope doesn't want to come out and be like, bomb these motherfuckers. That's not how popes operate. But he pretty much is calling for military action there, right? Like that's pretty much, he can't say it outright, but I think he's pretty much saying, you know, prayer doesn't work really. Like, isn't that?
Well,
is
I won't put that on the
no,
Pope.
was that a bridge too far?
It was a step too far.
Because they do the prayer thing all the time, and they had the prayer thing for Gaza and Israel a month ago. But when it really comes down to it, we can all sit and pray that the Yazidis are not going to be slaughtered or that they're going to release this other journalist that they have. But that probably won't do anything, but feel free to take the other counterpoint.
Well, I think in his mind, I won't speak for the Pope, but as someone
Speak for the Pope.
who does pray very often,
Yeah.
and I believe that in your prayer, things are revealed to you. So I think in his prayer, maybe it was revealed to him that, you know, these are the actions that may need to take place in order for the peace to be restored, or in order for the outcome that is desired, you know, to happens. And so I don't think he's saying, whew, I'm done with this prayer thing, you know, it ain't working, let's bomb them. But I think he's saying, you know, I have my faith, I have my beliefs, but at the end of the day, we still need physical action here on earth. I can pray to my Heavenly Father, but we still need physical action here on earth to go in and stop these forces. I don't.
I think I definitely agree with you in that, you know, he's not saying that we should stop prayer or anything like that. He doesn't even mention. But he is saying just to stop, right? And he emphasizes that he means not war, not bomb. Like, he is very clear that he's not calling for military intervention. He's just saying we need to figure out a way to make this
Right, but is he
stop.
really saying that, or isn't that just placating, like, I can't go and call for war, so I'm going to say just stop? That doesn't really mean it. What does that mean, really? Just stop. Like, we could stop, but ISIS isn't going to stop, and I don't think they're taking advice from the Pope, are they? Like, they don't really care what the Pope says, right? Like,
seeing as they're persecuting a Christian minority, I really don't think so. No.
Yeah.
I think what he wants to say in saying stop is that I don't have the answers, is what he's saying. But in an ideal world, if we're looking at a utopian society, yes, let's make it stop.
Yeah.
And he can say that, and he can still be the Pope, and he can, you know, still talk about prayer, but he is still looking at this situation and trying to put his own input into it, I guess. I can't, like I said, can't speak for the Pope.
You need prayer and bomb sometimes,
yeah,
I
but
guess.
just stop. I just want you to
But just stop. Like, that sounds really nice, like just stop.
Right.
But
It's not a
I
real
guess,
solution,
yeah.
basically.
All right, so my final thought on this. So the censoring issue, because, you know, when Twitter censored these videos yesterday, and I had to delete my tweet about it, and they were suspending accounts, not just telling people to take them down. They were actually suspending accounts. You know, everyone kept saying, well, we're just giving them propaganda. And I completely disagree. To me, it's like, we have to show this stuff so that we understand what we're fighting here, or at least what's going on in this other part of the world. Where do you guys fall out on that? That we're just propagating it if we retweet it, or that we should just not be showing it out of either the respect of the dead or?
It's more so about what the viewer takes from it, I think. It's a video that I haven't watched myself because I can't. You know how much I cry. I cannot watch this video. But I think the video needs to be talked about, and it needs to be spread, and people need to know this is what is happening.
Yeah.
And like nowadays, if you don't take a picture with Beyonce and put it on Instagram, no one believes you saw Beyonce. So if you don't see this video, some people will not believe that this is actually what we're facing. And so it's a bit of a hypocrisy for Twitter to suspend these accounts and be enraged when people can say whatever they want and threaten your life, and they can still have an account.
Right.
And so it's a little bit of a gray area, but don't spread the video so you can hashtag it and get followers. Like, that's demeaning. But this is information and you are a news source. So yes, it needs to be a discussion.
So I tend to agree with you, Vanessa. So I think we need to have access to this information. It needs to be available to us, and perhaps it's our responsibility to educate the public and people who have access to this information so that it's not made a mockery of, and so that we understand it. Unfortunately, you know, as you mentioned, Dave, when we have this type of information and it spreads through social media forums and it goes viral, then it unfortunately sometimes fuels the terrorist organizations, you know, motives and desire to do this even more.
And recruitment, that's what they're saying, yeah.
So it can potentially perpetuate the situation, but I would say we should err on the side of having more information versus having information taken away from us and being blinded to what's happening. We can't act if we don't know what's happening.